In this episode, we explore why network marketing is the business of the 21st century, and we take a look at all different ways that you can become an entrepreneur. Hi, everyone. I'm Kim.
And I'm Sherry.
And we're excited to really compare and contrast the different ways to be an entrepreneur and the different business models that are out there. And of course, we're going to share why we think network marketing can really check off a lot of boxes for you and be that pathway into entrepreneurship.
And I'm going to start just by reading a quote by Robert Kiyosaki. If you haven't heard of him, he's the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad and a number of other books. And he really is an expert on creating wealth. And this is what he says about the network marketing industry. We found that one business model stood out from the rest. This particular business model creates passive income, but requires relatively little cash investment to start up. It has very low overhead and can be operated on a flexible, part-time basis until it generates enough cash flow for the entrepreneur to transition out of his or her current full-time job. That business model is called network marketing. And this is really the reason why we started this podcast, is to be able to share with people how to transition out of corporate America by using network marketing as that potential vehicle.
And that quote and some of his other findings are in the book called The Business of the 21st Century. And he does a phenomenal job of just really explaining the different, ways that you can be an entrepreneur and how they can be lucrative. And he is an expert in creating wealth. And we're going to break it down a little bit and kind of talk about the difference between having a traditional brick and mortar business, being an independent contractor or a consultant. And then we're going to talk about franchising and then how that all relates to what we think is the best business model, network marketing.
So let's start with just having that traditional brick and mortar business, because I think, for at least as long as I can remember, the American dream has always been business ownership. And I think when people think about business ownership, they typically think about starting a small business. And both of our parents started a small business when we were younger, and we saw them, really grind it out, working almost 24/7, it seemed like. It was great for them. They had their own business, but on the downside, they were married to the business. It was really difficult to leave the business for any period of time because nobody was going to do their business the way that they did their business.
And I will tell you, my husband and I, for those of you who know my story, we opened a cycling gym and we wanted that traditional business. Well, I'll say my husband wanted that traditional business and liked the idea of creating a community. We were in a small town, and so we thought that there was a great need for having kind of that spin gym, that cycling gym. And this was a little bit before it became a big trend. And so we started the business, and with it came such high cost. I mean, starting with just the business loan, then there's licensing and applications. Then we had to find a space. And then with that, we had to have permits. We had to have licenses. We had to have build out. We needed equipment. And then on top of that, we had to figure out how to get our audience. And there was marketing and advertising, not to mention, logo design and brand development and customer service and software and technology. At the end of the day, my husband used to joke that everybody's getting paid but us. And for a lot of people who are owning that traditional business, it's taking 3 to 5 years for people to start seeing a profit. And for a lot of people, this can be, that's why we saw our parents work so hard and work so many hours. And so on top of those high costs do come those long hours. For my husband and I would do the morning shift. He would do the evening shift. We had a gym, so we were open on the weekends. And there was never that break and never that freedom. And there was something exciting about having your own business and creating that community. But to me, the costs were so high because there was no balance. There was no time. There was none of those things that, was some of the reasons why I fell in love with network marketing. So it was the high cost of that brick and mortar. It was that we have to figure everything out on our own. There's no system, there's no playbook. And then it's really the time. And I think when it really boils down to us, most of us are looking for more time to spend doing the things we want with the people we want.
And that leads into another type of business model, and that's really like a consultant or an independent contractor. Whether it's a personal trainer that's independent, or a hairstylist, or nail tech, somebody who has their own business, is independent, doesn't rely on a corporation, but relies on themselves. And we're finding, coaches, you name it. There are a lot of people, especially now in our virtual age, that are going independent. The thing with this type of business model is you really are tied to your clients being there, showing up, and you're tied to a certain amount of hours. Think about a personal trainer. Some gyms are open 24/7, but a typical trainer may work from 5 or 6 in the morning to 5 or 6 in the evening. There's probably a 12-hour shift that they're available. But what happens when one of their clients decides to go on vacation and doesn't show up? It's trading time for money, that type of business model. And that becomes tiring as well. I mean, yes, you are your own boss. You're an entrepreneur. You get to create your own hours by and large, but you are so reliant on other people that even though you're independent, uh, the cost of doing business is often really scary because you don't know if that person's going to show up or not.
And I think when you're an independent consultant and you're doing your own business, it could be something that you're really passionate about. And again, there's usually some kind of investment. There's a lot of figuring out and pivoting and readjusting. And then you truly are kind of married to your business. It's hard to take time off. It's hard to get away, unless you have the right type of business model. If it's some type of online business or something where you can leverage your time by creating a membership community or having online courses where you can do that work once and keep getting paid. But most people that we've found who are in that independent consultant kind of wave, they are really focused on showing up every day, and they're back to that business model of working 24/7 and feeling like if they're not working their business, something's going to happen. And there's not a lot of support. I mean, most people are that one-man show, and it is sometimes really difficult. I mean, I know with just my husband and we're building our business, it was hard just to be a team of two. We had actually independent contractors who were instructors, but they weren't invested in our business. They weren't there to help our business grow. And so when you're independent and you're that one-man show, maybe a two-man show, everything relies on you. And so you have to be the bookkeeper, the accountant, the marketer. You really need to kind of be an expert in almost everything. And for a lot of people, that can be costly. And I know my husband and we made a lot of costly mistakes as we were figuring out and learning that we did learn and we did grow from, but it can be a painful process.
And I think that's one of the reasons why so many people are attracted to the franchise model, because it isn't just a one-man show. Even though you are owner, operator, you have, franchisee, you have a bigger umbrella surrounding you and helping you and supporting you. You don't have to figure out everything on your own. Everything is already figured out. There is a system in place. The problem with a franchise is typically the high cost of getting in. So you have to have a lot of money already saved or capital available to invest. And then again, it's time, it's employees, it's your business. So you have to be there. And really the only way to make a lot of money with a franchise is by having multiple franchises.
And so there are so many appealing things about a franchise. And again, most franchises, they're not making money their first year. And so it kind of leads us to what we get excited about and why we think network marketing is this path to total freedom. Because, like that quote said, you can start a network marketing business for little to no cost. You've got that system in place, like you do with a franchise. And you also can kind of pick the people that you want to work with. You're going to build a team and you get to decide who that's going to be. And what happens is, as you build that team, you build a network of people who are shopping, and they're going to shop once a day, once a month, once a year, 5 times a year, who knows? But what happens is, when you build that network of people who are shopping, that means you get that reoccurring income, that residual income. So you guess what? You get to take a vacation. You get time for yourself because you've built a business and you've built a network of people who are shopping online. And that doesn't change. And unless, I always joke about this, but unless you're somebody who can get royalties from a book or a song or a television show and get those reoccurring incomes coming in, there's not a lot of options. And I think one of the overlooked but best things in network marketing is that reoccurring income.
And I think what network marketing does, it takes all of these traditional entrepreneurial business models and combines it all. So if you've ever wanted to be an entrepreneur and have your own business, you can. You don't have to have brick and mortar because everything typically is virtual, especially these days. If you want to be an independent contractor and do your own thing, set your own hours and select your own clientele, guess what? You get to do that in network marketing as well. If you want that system and that structure that a franchise offers, but you don't have, hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest in a franchise, guess what? You get that with network marketing too. And so it truly is that business model that combines all the traditional ways to being an entrepreneur, but it gives you a little bit of everything. But it not only that, but it gives you, unlimited income potential based on your efforts. There's no guarantees with income for sure, but you have that opportunity. It gives you, like Kim said, that potential time freedom to be able to do the things that you love to do. You don't have to be married to it. You don't have to be sitting, in a brick and mortar, have office hours. That's up to you as well. And then one of the things that we love the best is it really allows you to become the best version of yourself. It gives you those leadership tools to really be able to live your best life on your own terms.
And I think one last thing to really point out, which I think is one of the best things, and the only way I was able to build my business, was you could do it alongside your current job, and it can be that business that brings income coming in, that can be that supplemental income, that replacement income, and can turn into that lifestyle income. But most of us, when we're starting a franchise or a brick and mortar or even an independent contractor, we're just locked and loaded and focused, and we can't do anything else if we want to be successful. So this gives you the opportunity to build a network marketing business alongside anything else that you're doing, so that you can start visioning that total freedom.
So if entrepreneurship is in the horizon for you and you're looking at some of these different options, hopefully today's episode helped you really see some of the qualities that each one offers.
We started this episode by giving you a quote from Robert Kiyosaki, who is that expert on creating wealth. And we're going to end with another quote of his. And that quote is, "By its very nature and design, network marketing is strikingly fair, democratic, socially responsible system of generating wealth."